Yo, what's up everybody? It's Mark, and we're back with another review. This time we're taking a close look at the HP OmniBook X Flip 2-in-1 Copilot Plus PC, model number 14FM0013DX. This 14-inch 2K touchscreen laptop in atmospheric blue is turning heads with its sleek design and impressive features. We're going to break it all down, from its Intel Core Ultra 5 performance to its 16GB memory and 512GB SSD, to help you decide if this is the right laptop for you. Now, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future reviews. We're dropping fresh content all the time. Alright, let's jump into it. This specific HP OmniBook X Flip 2-in-1 model retails for $629.99, down from its comparable value of $849.99, so you save $220. It's rocking an impressive 4.8 out of 5-star rating based on 358 reviews. That's a fantastic starting point, but let's see if it lives up to the hype as we go through its features one by one. Alright, let's kick things off with what this HP OmniBook X really excels at. First up, the performance on this thing is surprisingly smooth. Like, crazy smooth. We're going to dive deeper into the specs later on, but the Snapdragon processor paired with 16 gigs of RAM makes multitasking a breeze. I had a ton of apps open, Chrome with way too many tabs, Photoshop, Spotify, you name it, and this thing didn't even flinch. Second, the design. HP really nailed it with this one. The all-metal build feels super premium, and it's surprisingly thin and light for a laptop with this much power. Like, you can easily toss this in your bag and barely notice it's there. And the bezels around the screen are tiny, which gives it this really immersive feel. And speaking of the screen, that's another major plus. This is a 14-inch 2.2K touchscreen, and it is gorgeous. Colors are vibrant, viewing angles are wide, and the touch response is super accurate. Whether you're editing photos, watching movies, or just browsing the web, this screen is a joy to use. Battery life is another area where the OmniBook X truly shines. HP claims you can get up to 12 hours of mixed usage on a single charge, and I have to say that's pretty accurate. I was easily able to get through a full day of work without having to hunt for an outlet, and even if you do need to top up, the fast charging is super convenient. One more thing I want to mention in the pros column is the keyboard and trackpad. The keyboard is backlit, which is always a plus, and the keys themselves have a really nice travel and tactile feedback. It's just a joy to type on, and the trackpad is nice and spacious with smooth and responsive tracking. It supports all the Windows gestures, and it just feels really good to use. Overall, the HP OmniBook X is a really impressive machine. It's got a lot going for it, including its performance, design, battery life, display, and input devices. But like any tech, it's not perfect. Okay, let's talk about some of the things that could be improved on the HP OmniBook X. First up, the price. At $899.99, it's not exactly cheap. You can definitely find laptops with similar specs for less money, especially if you're willing to go with a lesser-known brand. But you're also paying for the HP brand name, the premium design, and the overall user experience. Another thing that some people might consider a con is the lack of a dedicated graphics card. Now, the integrated graphics on the Snapdragon processor are actually pretty capable. You can definitely do some light gaming and video editing on this thing, but if you're a hardcore gamer or a professional video editor, you're going to want to look for a laptop with a dedicated GPU. The port selection is another area where the OmniBook X could be better. It's got 2 USB-C ports, which is great, but it would have been nice to see at least one USB-A port for connecting older peripherals. And while we're on the topic of ports, it also lacks an SD card slot, which might be a deal breaker for some photographers and videographers. Another thing that I noticed is that the speakers could be a little bit louder. They're not bad by any means, they're just not as loud as I would have liked. If you're planning on watching a lot of movies or listening to music on your laptop, you might want to consider using headphones or external speakers. Finally, while the overall design is really nice, I did find that the laptop picked up fingerprints pretty easily. This is especially noticeable on the lid and the trackpad. It's not a huge deal, but it is something to be aware of. Chapter 3. Let's talk about this display. This 14-inch 2.2K touchscreen is seriously impressive. Like, I catch myself just staring at it sometimes because it's so crisp and clear. I know some people might think 14 inches is a little small for a laptop screen these days, but honestly, it's the perfect size for me. It's big enough that I can have multiple windows open side by side without feeling cramped, but it's also small enough that the laptop is still super portable. And the 2.2K resolution is just stunning. It's not quite 4K, but it's definitely a step up from standard 1080p. Text is super sharp, images look incredibly lifelike, and videos are just ridiculously detailed. And because it's a touchscreen, you can interact with your content in a whole new way. You can scroll through web pages, pinch to zoom on images, and even draw and write directly on the screen with a compatible stylus. The touch response is super accurate and responsive, which makes using the touchscreen a really enjoyable experience. I found myself reaching for the screen all the time, even when I had a mouse connected. It just feels more natural and intuitive to interact with the screen directly, especially when you're browsing the web or using touch-friendly apps. The colors on this display are also really impressive. They're super vibrant and accurate, which is great for watching movies, editing photos, and even just browsing the web. Everything just looks more lively and engaging on this screen. And the viewing angles are also really good. You can share the screen with someone sitting next to you without having to worry about them seeing a washed-out image. Overall, the 14-inch 2.2K touchscreen is one of the best things about the HP OmniBook X. It's big enough to be immersive, sharp enough to be stunning, and responsive enough to make touch input a joy to use. Chapter 4. Okay, let's talk processing power. This HP OmniBook X is rocking the Snapdragon X Plus processor. And let me tell you, this thing really surprised me. I know some people might be skeptical about a Snapdragon processor in a laptop, but trust me, this is not your typical mobile chip. This thing is designed for serious performance, and it really delivers. In everyday use, the Snapdragon X Plus just flies. Apps open instantly, multitasking is a breeze, and even demanding tasks like photo editing and video playback are handled with ease. The Snapdragon X Plus is built on a 7nm process, which means it's incredibly power efficient. That's why the OmniBook X is able to get such amazing battery life. Now I know what you're thinking, what about gaming? Well, the Snapdragon X Plus isn't going to replace a dedicated gaming laptop anytime soon, but it can actually handle a surprising amount of gaming. I was able to play some popular titles like Fortnite and League of Legends at decent settings with smooth frame rates. One of the coolest things about the Snapdragon X Plus is its integrated X24 LTE modem. This means that the OmniBook X is always connected to the internet, even when you're on the go. You don't have to worry about finding a Wi-Fi hotspot or tethering to your phone. Overall, the Snapdragon X Plus is a really impressive processor that delivers incredible performance and battery life. It's not going to be for everyone, but for everyday users and even some light gamers, it's a great option. Chapter 5. Alright, let's talk storage and speed. The HP OmniBook X comes equipped with 16 gigs of RAM and a 512GB SSD, which is a pretty solid setup for a laptop in this price range. 16 gigs of RAM is more than enough for most users. You can have a ton of apps open at the same time without any lag or slowdowns, and the 512GB SSD is super fast. It boots up the laptop in seconds, launches apps almost instantly, and makes transferring files a breeze. Seriously, opening apps on this thing is like snapping your fingers. 1 second it's loading, the next you're staring at your spreadsheet, ready to crunch some numbers. No waiting around for things to load, no spinning beach balls of doom. It's just instant gratification, which is exactly what you want from a laptop in this day and age. And having a spacious SSD like this just makes everything feel snappier. It's not just about speed though, it's also about having enough space to store all of your files without having to constantly worry about running out of storage. With 512GB, you've got plenty of room for your documents, photos, music, videos, and even some games. And if you ever do need more storage, you can always connect an external hard drive or use cloud storage. Overall, the combination of 16 gigs of RAM and a 512GB SSD makes the HP OmniBook X a seriously snappy and responsive machine. You won't find any lag here, and you'll have plenty of space to store all of your important files and data. So there you have it guys, that's the HP OmniBook X model number 14F1003DX/A9FF7UA#ABA. It's a premium laptop with a lot to offer, including a stunning display, a powerful processor, and a sleek and portable design. The big question is it worth the $899.99 price tag? Honestly, that's a decision that only you can make. But if you're looking for a high-performance laptop that can handle everything from everyday tasks to light gaming and even some creative work, and you value portability and a premium design, then the OmniBook X is definitely worth considering. As always, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think of the HP OmniBook X? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more tech reviews and comparisons. Thanks for watching.